Ben, welcome to the Med Made for More podcast. Really stoked to have you on here today, man.
Appreciate you having me on, Dave. Incredible. I look forward to our conversation here. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And let's, for those that are not familiar with you, why don't you just kind of give an overview of your story, both personally, professionally, and what you're up to now?
Sure. So my name is Ben Lucius. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I lived here for, pretty much my whole life, other than 1 year. I lived out in North Dakota, out in the Bakken oil field. I could talk for days with you about everything that I experience out there. But in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I am a realtor in the greater Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I am a group fitness coach. I've done that for the past 3 years at a place called Alchemy 365. I am a youth lacrosse coach. I am a Lululemon ambassador for the Mall of America. The best mall in America is the Mall of America right here in Bloomington, Minnesota. Which you've probably been to. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yes, I have. Yeah, a couple times with trips back for Lindsay, and then also with back when I was a kid too. It's a great mall.
There you go. Great mall. Looks a little different right now, obviously with COVID, but do a little bit of that. I'm a mentor with Big Brother, Big Sister in the Twin Cities here, and just a dude that likes to do things clearly and meet new people, and I'm just a big connector. So that's kind of like, I guess that's a professional. It's also personal too, because it's, a lot of my professional stuff is stuff I love to do. But yeah, professionally, I've been working at Alchemy 365, which is it's a group fitness studio here in the Twin Cities. We got 2 locations in Denver and Colorado. But we do strength, conditioning, and yoga classes, and they're all group fitness classes. But we have a few different formats where it's pretty much a 45 to 50 minute class where we lead you through a warm up. We do 20 minutes of like HIIT, and then we lead you through a little cool down. And of course, every workout's going to change every day, just like the WOD. Alchemy, the best way I could explain it to somebody would be if core power yoga and CrossFit had a baby, that is what Alchemy is. I could talk about Alchemy for a while here. We can get into that a little bit later, but I've loved working there for the last 3 years. I made some awesome connections here in the Twin Cities, and that's, a reason why I'm an ambassador for Lululemon. Met some awesome people, have had some awesome classes. I can talk about what that even means later, but personally, a lot of this stuff stems from, my earlier years growing up with competitive sports. And I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but injuries that I've had in my past and just recovering from those injuries. So kind of went off on a little ramble there, but we can hone it in and we can chit chat a little bit.
Yeah. It's a welcome ramble, and it gives some good context, and it's cool to hear that you're up to, a lot of different things, and just one that, jumping into some of those passions and those things that not being, set on any one thing, and got your hands in a couple different areas you're just excited about, and that passion shows. So that's cool. And we'll kind of jump around here from thing to thing, but I want to start with some of the injury stuff, because when we were talking, you mentioned not just 1 ACL injury, not just 2 ACL injuries, but 3 times with the ACL. And that's, that's crazy, because we see in our PT practice, like 1 can be enough to really, really jostle someone up, and the psychological wearing on that and the mindset behind that. And I kind of want to just have you kind of outline how your mindset shifted from injury to injury across those 3, because you had to have learned a lot and grown a lot through that process, not just physically, but mentally as well. And can you kind of talk through what happened with the first one and how that affected you, and how that maybe evolved as the second and third one happened as well?
Yeah, I tore my ACL so much stronger and better each time. I got better at it each time. I've had 3 ACL tears, and that's all it was. It wasn't cartilage. It wasn't LCL. It wasn't anything else. It was just straight up ACL full tears each time. The first one happened when I was a senior in high school. The second one happened when I was a sophomore in college. And then the third one happened when I was a senior in college. And so I already said that, I grew up playing sports, and these were, all sport athletic injuries. So when I was, the first one which I've never really been injured, before having an ACL tear, other than like getting stitches, or I broke my middle finger playing football with the guys back in the day. So that's like, that was as serious as it got. The very first injury, we're on the practice field, and it's a rainy day, and I just go to make a cut. It's senior year of high school. I'm the quarterback for Rosemount High School. What up, Lindsay? Rosemount High School here in Minnesota. But made a cut in the mud and just like went down, and something, I hadn't felt before, like my knee just buckled. Then you have like the coach come over and like another coach come over, and they're like, did you hear that from across the field or whatever, saying like they heard a snap or something. Like, I didn't hear anything. It's because like I went down. I don't go down like that, but just kind of laying there, take your time. I'm just like, yeah, what happened? Like, and then you try to get up, and then you're like, you can walk on it. It's just not stable. It feels like you sprained something. Like I've sprained ankles before. But you go with the trainer into the office, and then she's just jiggling your knee a little bit, seeing if there's like an end point here or there, or, flex in your knee, and bend it, straighten it. And it's like, oh yeah, that kind of hurts. Oh no, that, whatever. I'm just like, nothing bad's happened. And, the coach comes into the office and it's like, so what are we thinking? And she's, I hear him over kind of in the corner, like, well, I don't really feel an endpoint on, this side of, the knee or the ACL or whatever. And I'm just sitting there just like, yeah, okay. Like who knows what really happens, but you're just like, shit, like something serious is happening right now. You like, you went and got my MRI, and then you wait a little while, and then you go and get those results. And, I was with my dad, I remember, and in the meantime, I'm just like hobbling around, I think I'm walking around high school in crutches, maybe not, because you can go forward and back. It's just all the lateral stuff you really can't do. So I think I just got my crutches I'm walking around with, like, it's all going to be fine. But I remember we went to Tria Orthopedics place here in, I think it's in Edina, Minnesota, but that's where I got my first surgery, but that's where I got results from the MRI. And you get into the room. It's me and my dad. I'm a senior in high school. I'm 18 years old or whatever. My whole life is sports. That's like what I'm so passionate about. She, starts to talk a little bit, and is just like, you tore your ACL. And you see it in movies with like very traumatic instances. For me, this was like the most traumatizing thing I've ever heard or whatever. So I heard her say like, yeah, you tore your ACL. And then it's just like, wow, 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 wow. You don't hear anything else. And I'm just like starting to just get flushed with emotion. Just like we had 10 more, it was like the 4 games into the football season. You had 8 more games or whatever it is your senior year. And then it's just like, you don't want that to happen. So just super sad right away, super just initially just depressed, and you have your parents, coddle you or whatever. And I went back to high school that day after just like kind of crying in the car, just like knowing like my sports is over in high school, which looking which I've gained perspective since, which has been a great thing for this. But like, back then that's all it was. So I remember just like going into the office to where one of my coaches was, and immediately like breaking down and crying, and they kind of know. But from there, it's just like you're laying on your couch. Maybe you see who your best friends are, who is going to come and visit you. And then you got to get that, rehab process going. Cause I was going to go play lacrosse in college at St. Thomas, where I did play lacrosse. So it wasn't going to be, the end of sports for Ben Lucius. But you need to recover mentally and physically. So you know the drill. You do that, initial recover rehab, then you got to go through your sports rehab, where you really start pushing it, and then you get back on the field from there. So I didn't know anything else other than just like, let's work hard. This injury will heal. I guess, you had to pick what kind of ACL surgery that you wanted to, which I wasn't sure at first. When we went with my patella tendon from the other knee, put it in. So I think I recovered in like 6 months or so, and I was able to play lacrosse in the spring. So I was able to recover pretty quickly. So that was number one. And that was like, it was a lot to handle as a high schooler, but I had a lot of good friends that, come visit me. And it does get a little bit lonely there, because you get home from school, all you can do is lay on your couch, get your leg up, or, whatever it is. You maybe go to the football practice still, but you're just standing there and everyone else is going and running plays. It's just like you on an island.
Yeah. That's awesome to be able to get back for lacrosse though. Was that now with do you think the lacrosse was determined, you had the scholarship or you knew you were going to be playing before football season, or was that something after the
I
fact?
just knew I was gonna continue to play sports, as long as I could, and I knew I was gonna go to St. Thomas because my dad works there, and they have a great lacrosse team there. It is club. It's like MCLA D1 or D2 now. But lacrosse is a funny sport where some of those club teams are just as good as a D3 or a D2 divisional school. But St. Thomas won a few championships before I got there, so just making the team I knew was going to be tough, but I knew I was going to do it. So rehabbed as much as I could so I could get out on the field in high school again one last time, which I was able to do. So it's like, my senior year ended well. I was able to, stay on the field through the end of the year instead of just like that was it when I did in football. But yeah, in college, it wasn't a scholarship. You pretty much pay to play. You got to walk on and try out and make the team. And that's what I did.
And when you heard the news so you hear this devastating news, it's like your ACL is torn and I'm sure there's a flood of emotions, like you said. How long was call it a grieving process, if you will? How long was like reflecting on that and being like, oh no, this could be it? Or how much was just like right back to work? And cause some people have a hard time with transitioning from that process of still like accepting it. And then, cause it takes a lot of work to get back to it. Was that a quick transition for you? Or is that something that, when did you notice that flip from like, man, this is pretty serious to like, okay, here's just the next step. Here's what I need to do to get back on the field?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty quick and I always have been had a pretty quick grieving process. So it's just like, I got home from school the day I found out the ACL was torn. I get into the bathroom to take a shower and I just start crying to myself for a while. And I'm there and you cry for a good 10 seconds, but you don't let your brother hear, you don't let anyone hear, you just kind of cry, you get in the shower and then you're done and you're not totally done, but like I get over it like almost just that quick, knowing like this isn't the end of my life. Other people, the pro athletes recover from all these injuries. People recover from injuries. I know it isn't the final thing. I know it's not the final thing for me. It's not going to end me and I'm not going to let it end me. I'm not going to be somebody who's just like, shit, my life is over because I hurt myself in high school playing sports. There's so many other, I don't know. I could have been born without an arm or an eye or like something like that. And it's just like, I can recover from this and I will be, back to normal, whatever that new normal looks like. So for me, the grieving process is pretty quick, but you still got to know you're living with that injury for the rest of your life and being smart about it physically. That's like a whole other thing. But the grieving process, your friends help you out, give yourself that time to feel, give yourself that time to, cry or whatever. I'm a pretty chill dude when I love movies. So I'll just flip on a movie and forget about something and eat some ice cream. And that'll make you a little bit happier. And like people need to do that and not think that they can't just go and enjoy something, even though like something horrible just happened to them.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's perhaps, yeah, it's good perspective to have even in high school. And that's, can be hard to wrap your head around for the younger athletes that we see, and even older adults that suffer with it too. It's hard to have that bigger perspective. Sometimes it's just so easy to focus in on that alone. But how did that change from, so what happened with the second one now? So you already went through this once, maybe give some context around when it happened and then how your mindset was at that time. Cause that was, you said your sophomore year of college.
Yep. And before that, maybe I did take the first one a little, pretty well because I did mention I broke my middle finger. So like that was the first serious injury that I ever had. And I recovered from that. I remember when I did it, one of my buddies is like, let's have a piano playing contest, like making fun of me. And like, that gives you a little bit of perspective, but yeah, moving on to this second one, it was my, sophomore year of college. We were at national tournament in Greenville, South Carolina, playing lacrosse for University of St. Thomas. We were playing North Dakota State, the Bison. But I was again, and it was just a beautiful day. It wasn't, it was a beautiful day. It was on grass again. It wasn't on turf. I know a lot of these injuries happen on turf, but it was on grass again. And same thing, I go to make a cut, and then it was the other one. So I tore my left one in high school. I tore my right one in college sophomore year for number 2. You're laying on the ground, and like that, it was the second time it happened, and I'm just like, shit. I think I know what happened. I think I know what happened, but I hope to God not. So it's like, I walked off the field. I wasn't crying, I wanted to show everyone how tough I am. And I never really thought like tearing my ACL was that painful. I have heard like the cartilage and that other stuff can be really what causes pain. Obviously everyone's a little different, but it hurts obviously. But yeah, same thing. You go to the training booth at the fields that they had there, and like, you should go get it checked out. I had to wait to get it checked out until the tournament was over. But I went and sent, my team an email that night, because we had like 2 more games to play, because, we made it to the championship again. So it's like I did it in the quarterfinal or something. So, it's like the tail end of something again. We're in the quarterfinal, or it's like my last season of high school football or whatever it is. But it was I just like sent an email out to my team like, hey guys, I'm pretty sure I tore my ACL. I've already done this before. Like, please don't like ask me about it. Cause at like the team dinner, I would break down and cry, or I would get mad or something. Cause then that's like me crying in the bathroom. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want anyone to see me like that. I remember even getting stitches when I was like a young kid. I was running to go catch a football for my friend while my brother was swinging a golf club in the front yard. And I ran right towards my brother, and he took a chunk out of my leg. And then I remember like I got done crying. We got to the emergency room, and then like an old couple was like, what are you in here for? And then I just start crying. Same type of thing, like, tearing the ACL, or when I'm, a sophomore, like, give me some time. And that's why I sent that email out. Like, don't ask me about, let's like talk about other things. But same type of thing with grieving process. Like, that one, I wasn't really able to be by myself. I was with my team for that full weekend or that full week. So I just had to let them know, like, right then, like, I'm pretty soft right now. Give me some time. But then, yeah, we get back to Minnesota. We take the test, find out my ACL is torn. I don't remember that recovery as much. Same type of recovery as far as, do the one rehab, then you do the sports rehab. I went to, I think both times, like Velocity Sports in Minnesota or something for sports rehab, where you start jumping around and whatnot. But I don't remember like laying on my couch loafing around as much as I did that first time. Like second time, was like, I've been through this before. Like, I'm going to get up. I'm going to be doing more stuff. I got my crutches. I'm going to make it back for next season. So the second time it sucked, but it wasn't as big of a blow type of a thing, I guess. And again, it's like you have good people that support you. Go, and even when you are, down, go support your team. We're in a national championship game, or we're in a semifinal game. I can still, team sports has just been so huge to me. I just love everything about it, and just like being able to make my teammates better, even when I'm not on the field. And that's why I love becoming a coach now here too today. And you can see like, that's why that's probably happened. But yeah, second time it was the other leg. It was because of overcompensation is what I'm told, leaning on that right leg a little bit more than my left, because I didn't want to put pressure on that left knee, which I had no idea I was doing. It just happens. You just overcompensate. But that's pretty much why that second one happened then. Yeah. And that's the whole story there.
And do you think that one was easier because it was sophomore year versus senior year of high school, just different stage of your life, or more so just because you've been through it before?
I think your first point there, like the end of something, the end of high school is like my last chance to, and it's just like, you're a bigger fish at that time in the pond, where then college, it gets a little bit bigger. Maybe you're a little less important type of a thing, but it's sophomore year, and it's just like, you have 2 more years to, win another championship or get even better. So I would say, because it was my sophomore year in college, not because it was like number 2, which that might have helped a little bit, but it's still like, damn, man, I just did it again. What is this? Like, why am I cursed?
Which brings into, the curse wasn't done yet, because then senior year of college. So we say sophomore year might've been a little better. What happened with this third one now, which so just baffles me. The third time, what was going on with this one?
Third time. So that was sophomore year. So like I recovered through the summer, sophomore year. I was ready to play lacrosse again for fall ball, and then again in the spring, junior year. Back starting, I'm a team captain junior year, and I was voted team captain because like I was still vocal throughout my sophomore year, just, while I was injured or whatever. But team captain junior year, had another good season. I think we lost the championship my junior year. And then senior year, I'm feeling good. I haven't got injured in more than a year and a half, which was like, it was a year and a half for, that second one to happen. It was like 2 years now, type of a thing. Maybe it was right at a year and a half. I'm like, I'm good. I'm playing intramural football, and I do the same damn thing. Intramural football, I'm making a cut. And I know I wasn't like playing balls to the walls, like, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Ben would have. It's just like I'm with my buddies. We're out there, just playing our other college buddies. But obviously I'm that type of person. I want to win. So you're going to make a cut every once in a while that you're trying to get away from somebody because you're trying to score that touchdown or whatever. But intramural football just made that cut, tore my right one again. So my first one was the left, second one was the right, third one was the right. Same thing. I'm on the ground, and I kind of just like, my roommate was on my team, and he's like, "Hey, you good, man?" And I'm just like, "I think I just did it again." And he like knows my story. So he's just like, oh. So I kind of just like crawl off the field and like don't make much out of it. And like, we're just walking home. Cause like, whatever, you can walk home. Like I said, it's fine. It's just an ACL. I'm just like, dude, I know I did it again. And it's my senior year. And that was before the season even started. I got this like scholarship to play lacrosse from this family who they lost their son to cancer, I believe. And since it is club, we are paying to play the sport that we want to play. So I got this scholarship from them. And then I tore my ACL, and I'm just like, hey, I appreciate the scholarship. Like, you can take it back. I'll be on the team this year, but I really won't be playing because I tore my ACL. And they're just like, you can keep that. That's for you. That's for you and your story, because you apply for it and whatever the story was. But I was just like, oh, okay. So then I did still travel with the team to, the tournaments that we went to, to California and to Carolina and wherever else we went that year. But yeah, I mean, the third time I tore it, I'm walking home. I'm with my friend. I tell him like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I tore it. We get back to the place. I'm just like laying on the couch, probably like having a beer or something out there, smoking something at the time, or just trying to deal with it like right away initially, just like, damn, man, did it again. But I'm just like laying on the couch, and Andrew was my buddy. He's like on the other couch, like not saying anything because I'm like sitting there, like kind of like watery eye type of thing, same type of thing. Don't talk to me about it. And then, call my dad again. And of course, your dad doesn't make you feel better. He's like, oh no, you did it again. Like, they feel so sorry from you. And then that makes you want to cry a little bit because it's just like your parents love you. You love them. So like, yeah, I don't know, but let's go get another MRI. You sit in that machine again, sit in that machine again, play whatever music you want to play. You already know that outcome that's coming. Same thing. You're just like, shit, tore it again. I'm done for this season. I can't play my last year of college lacrosse. That's all I ever wanted to do. The last time I would probably play competitive sports. And then I don't know. I mean, the grieving process, that one sucked too. And then, yeah, it's probably a little bit worse than that middle one, just because, again, it was the end of my college year. It was the end of the time in my life. I did the thing that I was the most passionate about, was playing a team sport competitively, just tossing a ball around, running around on the field. It's just like, you're not going to do that again with your teammates. But all three of those have helped me transition into, my job after that, into training after that, maybe training a little smarter. I never really had like a legitimate strength and conditioning coach through high school or college. Well, I did in high school, college, not so much, but nobody that was really like, we need to focus on this because your knee is like this. It's like right when I got out of the sports rehab from Velocity Sports or Acceleration Minnesota or wherever I went to, that was it. They're like, you're good to go. You can go play sports. And then you still do the PT, you still do the wall sits, you do the clamshells, you do whatever. But when you go work out, when, I was doing my squats and I was doing my lunges and I was doing this and that, nobody's really watching you. It's just like me doing what I think I'm supposed to do and just like back to normal, getting strong, bigger, faster, stronger, like programs that you do in high school that you carry on through college. But that was number 3. It was another heartache. But we're alive still, right? We're still alive. We know we can recover.
Yeah. That's man, the incredible. Yeah. And I want to get in a little bit here to some of the ways you're applying it now, but a question that came up, did you attack that last rehab process the same, in honest reflection on it, if you can think of it, did you attack that last rehab process the same way as the first 2? Because the first 2, you knew you had sports on the other side of it. Was there any more like complacency or laziness during it, or did you find something internally to be able to do that? Because the external motivations are strong when you have sports coming in. But I'm kind of curious how you handled that third one, knowing that there's not really another season on the other end of this.
What do you think I did?
I mean,
I know we don't know each other.
Yeah, we have. I don't know your story aside from what I've heard here, but I feel like it wouldn't be. It'd be hard to bring the same amount of intensity to that, I think.
Yeah. And it was. And like, no, I didn't train like I trained after, 1 and 2. It's just like, now it's just like, well, I'm in senior year of college. I got to find a job, so you concentrate your energies somewhere else. But no, it wasn't like I'm going to be an ultra marathoner and I'm going to be training for that. Now I had no other external motivation to get into, peak Ben Lucius, athletic, condition. It wasn't like I'm stepping onto a field again. That was my last year, unless I maybe wanted to go to another school and play divisional, but kind of over it at that point. And also like, Ben, you did it 3 times. Maybe it's time to do something else. Maybe it's time to actually slow down when you're playing sports with people and be a little bit more intentional and thoughtful with what you're doing from here on out. So yeah, the training was not the same. I didn't go through the sports rehab. I probably got even a little lazier with my, hang on here. I got even a little bit lazier. You see me here? There we go. Yep. With just my normal rehab even, I try to get it to where I could get that 90-degree bend and bend my knee even more than that. And then, like I'm good. And then went off into the world and didn't train like that before. Still weightlifted, that's something I love to do, weightlift or hit or just workout type of a thing. But it wasn't like I'm getting back into peak form.
Yeah. And I was curious to hear that, because I feel like that'd be hard too, because so many people, and there's just so many, when the external drive's there, it's so much easier to get fired up about it. But when it's just internally and relying on yourself, you're like, oh, I don't really have why do I need to get back to peak performance? And I mean, it sounds like you're still doing some weightlifting and still doing some of those things though. Did you have any lag or any, time off in the fitness side of things of not really knowing what you wanted to do for training, or did you step into that pretty seamlessly?
Yeah, there was lag. It was just like, I would go to the gym whenever. I didn't have a routine. And I'm not one of those people that, I guess I would say like, it didn't really make me feel bad either that I wasn't going to the gym. I was like, I was okay with like not doing that. I didn't need to be a certain amount of weight. I didn't need to lift a certain amount. So like I was okay with it. But before that, it's like, I do want to be, damn strong. I do want to be very quick. So like there was a leg getting back into the gym, and then there was a lack of routine. It was just like, okay, I'll do legs today because like somebody's not on the squat machine and I can go squat, or nobody's under that barbell, or same time. And then I get out of college and it's like, then I have a LA Fitness membership, and in Uptown Minnesota, which is it was just like the stupidest, craziest, like fit as many people into a gym you can, and then see what machine is open, But one thing that I've always done is just ride the bike. So ride the bike before, ride the bike after, and usually I've stayed away from running, just because riding the bike has been great for me as far as recovery goes, less impact, increasing my range of motion, and then get my cardio going too. So yeah, there's a leg, but it wasn't ever like I was down on myself for it. It just took a while to kind of get back to where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's always, I think, just I ran into that a little bit after football in general, not even coming off of an injury. I think there's this hard transition time between you're playing sports and you're following this program for the most part, and you know what you're training for. You always have the next game day circled on the calendar, even if it's 9 months away. And then all of a sudden
Yeah.
that's gone. And it's like, like I'm having a hard time finding the same motivation that I was before, even though I still enjoyed weightlifting and those things, but it's just different.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm good. Like I'm going to eat this pizza and ice cream,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I have nothing else to train for right now.
Yeah. I'm curious how so you're coaching lacrosse now. You do the stuff with the training. You're involved in Big Brother Big Sister. Have you encountered anyone that had either ACL surgery on your team that you're coaching, or any other major surgeries, some injuries for that matter? Because you've got this incredible perspective now. Have you been able to coach the next generation, or like mentor someone through that process and see how people handle it differently? Or have you gotten to encounter that yet?
I've encountered it. I haven't like mentored or anything. So the lacrosse teams that I coach for True Lacrosse Minnesota, which is, a select team. The kids pay to try out, and then they make their team. And then we go travel the countries in hopes that once they get through senior year or junior year, they get a scholarship somewhere. So I've been doing that for 3 years now. And I was coaching high school lacrosse before that even. But the last 2 years, I've been coaching fifth graders. And I hope to God none of them have ACL tears, so I haven't encountered any of those little guys with any injuries like that. Now this year I am coaching freshmen in high school. Same thing. Obviously it's possible. Like they could have tore it in middle school doing whatever. But I have, again, not encountered any of my players on the lacrosse team with any serious injuries like that. But I absolutely love it when I see it, somebody I can talk to and relate to them with, because I have met so many people coaching at Alchemy where I see their knee and I see that scar and I'm just like, hey, you've had knee surgery? And then they're like, yep. And then they're like, I've had one. And then I get a brag and I'll be like, I've had three, but then you get to talk to them about something, and you're like, I'm passionate about talking to people that have gone through the same, struggle or tragedy or trauma that I have. And it's not so much I mentor them, but I watch them in class a little bit more with their box jumps or their lunges, or if their knees are going out or in on their air squats or whatever that we're doing that day. So I absolutely love when I have people come in with, I guess, any sort of injuries that they've recovered from, but most of all, something that I've been through as well, because I can actually speak to that a little bit more knowledgeably.
Yeah, I'm sure in the emotional connection, I'm sure is really strong too. Just being able to say like, hey, like I know what you're going through, but also now you have the physical tools too to be able to see if there's any imbalances. Kind of have that eye to know what to look for in them as well.
Yeah, and man, it's the emotional part that slows people down or stops people. And if it happens to a kid, it's just like it's 10 times worse, because there's that lack of perspective. Like me when I was a senior, and if that happens to any of my freshmen or sophomore, whoever I'm coaching, I'm going to be the first one there to just try and talk to them about it, because that emotional just effect, then they go home, then I have no one else to talk to. And like, I know I've been through that. It's just like, it is so real. And that can prevent somebody from coming back, whatever that is, for the rest of their lives, like you're asking. But for some reason, that wasn't even an option for me. But I know for a ton of people, something tragic like that happens, their life is over, but it's really not.
Yeah. And when you think about it, I mean, some of the things you've mentioned as we're talking here, it's like you had good friend support. You had good, your parents were involved and, loving through the process. You had good teammates. You had motivation to come back and play. Like, you think any of those things are missing for these kids, and that's got to be like, not all those pieces are there too. I think it's awesome to hear that, after all these years has been a success recovery wise and all that. But for people that don't have maybe some of that emotional support, don't have the physical tools or resources of those things, I can imagine that would be tough. And then the question answers of like, do I want to go through this again? Do I want to go back and confront this?
Right. Yeah. And I had great emotional support from family and friends and teammates. And, with Big Brother, Big Sister, I know he doesn't have quite the same support from his family or his friends or where he's living, type of a thing. So any way like I or you or anyone can help somebody that's like injured at the time and just like get to know them a little bit, like that'll go such a long way, because not everyone has that loving mom and dad or brother or sister to help them get back on their feet and like try again.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's like you're echoing probably one of the biggest things in the process is being able to stay the course, stay consistent, because it's not like the rehab process either. It's just like, yep, it's just linear, straight up and down. You're just gonna every day you get a little better. It's it's trends that way, but there's a lot of hills and valleys within that. And for people listening, whether in your experience personally or in other people you saw in the rehab process, are there any things, key things physically or mentally when you're bouncing back from a major injury like this that you think, set you up for success, or things that you can comment on?
Yeah. I mean, just, and you'll hear from anyone, but stay positive, staying positive. How do people stay positive? Well, for me, a few times it was like flipping on a movie. It's finding your balance. Like you said, there's ups and there's downs, and there's ups and there's downs. And someday you got that juice to just give that workout all you can. And some days you wake up a little tired, give yourself that rest and feel tired. And that is totally fine. And just know that's just today. And tomorrow's another day. So for me, staying positive is knowing that tomorrow is another day. You will have another day tomorrow. The next hour, you're going to be able to come home and sleep in your bed again. You get to come home and sleep in your bed again. Just being just aware of like everything else that's going around in the world with just having perspective has helped me keep positive. It could be worse is something that I always say to myself. But it's tough when you're in your little bubble, when you just hear your ACL or your girlfriend just breaks up with you and you don't really see outside of that bubble. Okay. But then that's when I watch a movie or try and read a book and forget about it and learn about something else. And then so being positive. Another thing that's helped me too is just reaching out to friends, when I'm not injured, reaching out to friends and saying, hey, I care about you, how are you doing, that type of a thing. Because keep those loved ones around you, keep that support around you, because when something does happen to you, you want people to come and visit you, you want people to come, bring you flowers or make you cookies or like whatever. So just like be, reach out to friends, reach out to people. And I am such a big connector. Like if I didn't have as many friends or family, I know those injuries would have been tough, 100%. But yeah, just like you said, stay the course. See if you can get a routine after you're done grieving. Wake up, eat your cereal, you do your workout for the day, you go to school, whatever that is for you. You come home, you do your rehab. Stay the course with the routine, especially with rehab, especially with ACLs. Do those clamshells, do those wall sits when you're watching TV. It's so easy to get lazy. It's so easy. And I know you probably tell everyone it's not going to work if I give you this stuff, but you're not actually doing it. You need to do it. Okay. And that's sometimes daunting. So just break it up. If you have to do 100 whatever reps of something, break it up throughout your day. Make it a more manageable 10 to get to that 100. So I'll just end there. Yeah, stay positive, keep perspective, keep those loved ones and friends around, reach out to them and put in the work.
Yeah, that's a lot of things that are missing. It's easy to get caught up in the day to day, and I think it's easy to kind of self isolate. And I think it can feel isolating when you go through an injury like this. And we can say injury if you're listening, and it's a breakup or a getting let go from work. Like this can be a lot of things. The things that you're talking about and that you've applied can any kind of setback. We can say physical, emotional, or otherwise financial, but the you know, having that community, not self-isolating, not saying like, oh, well, no one wants to see, no one wants, like actually reaching out to people too, and doing the same when you see other people going through these things. I think that's just such an important lesson to take. And it's cool to see that, you've been on both sides of that, where you've been on the receiving end of that, but it also sounds like you're actively on the giving end of that as well when people are experiencing those things.
Right. And probably because I've had those experiences, I know how lonely it could be. So then I just tend to just reach out more often, even if my friends aren't in a spot like that. And, today in today's day and age right now, that looks a bit different. You can't just on a whim go to the bar to try and cheer up, to try and, find some chicks or find that new boyfriend or whatever it is. You can't just get together with as many people as possible, to go, I don't know, golf or whatever it is. But sending that text or like trying to do a little Zoom call or something like that, that can go a long way too.
How are you staying connected with people at Alchemy, with people that maybe going through an injury, people that, and not even a serious injury? Like, we see people at gyms all the time that fall off just because their knee starts hurting and their back starts hurting. Do you find ways to stay connected with people and reach out in the professional sense too?
Yeah, I mean, I just try. Obviously, I know some of these people better than others, and I've had a connection with them more than others. So it's if like somebody comes in and I only see them once, and then they get injured. Like I don't know, but if for anyone that like I've built a relationship with, and I find out that they threw out their back or they do this or that, I email them. If I have their phone number, I'll probably give them a call and just say, hey, how you doing? Like, what are you up to? And that's all you need to start with. And then go from there. How's it going? Like, and then share your experiences and just let them know, like, you'll get back from this. It's fine. But yeah, it's all sorts of people, it's 50, 60-year-olds that, I don't know, they hurt themselves. They slip or whatever. Anyone can slip,
Yeah.
especially in Minnesota. Or it's like, the 20-year-old college kid or something like that I've built a good relationship. So just tailoring the conversation, just seeing how they're feeling, reaching out either by email or call.
Yeah. People just want to know that you care and that you're doorbell ringing. People want to know that you care and that you're
Amazon.
UPS, that you care, that you're in it with them, that because even little injuries, and that's what we've seen too in our experience, is that it doesn't take a big ACL injury. Sometimes for someone that's never been injured, you've been through the gauntlet of some of those things, but for someone who's been healthy their whole life and they feel a twinge of back pain or something, and CrossFit or group class or yoga is that's their life, that's their community, that's their stress relief, that's those things. It doesn't take a major injury to
No.
be able to experience that same fear that you've probably experienced time and time again. So I think just being in their corner, and whether you're a trainer listening or whether you're the person going through that process, don't separate, don't self-isolate when that happens, because you will get through it, like you said, and it's not something that you have to go through alone.
Yeah. And it is so important because for some of these people who have been going to CrossFit for years, or, to that one location with those same people and those same coaches for years, that is their life. Like you just said, that is their life. So like being the coach or being the GM or, being, the other person that's been working out with them at, 6 a.m. every single morning for the last, 3 years, reaching out is so important, so reach out, everybody, reach out, tell somebody you love them, randomly,
I think that's perfect. Yeah. I think that's, if you go through life doing that, if you try and make someone else's day every day, you're going to be good. And you don't know what those words of, I've been on both sides of that, where just a seemingly small text of someone just like, hey, thinking about you, want to know how you're doing, can make their day, and vice versa. I'm sure we've all had it where someone texts you out of the blue, or someone just checking on you and you're like, hey, that came at the perfect time. Like I was having a rough day. And then those words were, encouraging enough to turn that around.
Right. And like you said, it could be like, who knows what they're going through at the time. It could have just been a tough day, bad day at work. The boss got mad and you just send a text, change their whole day, go to bed happy.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I loved all this stuff, Ben. This has been great. Some of the key takeaways I wrote down as we were going is grieve at your own pace is something I wrote down, where you happen to be a quick griever, but to not also have guilt or not have shame if you need to grieve longer, if you need to, have that outlet of either, if that's some quiet time you need, if that's, time just being out with people. I think grieving at your own pace is important when it comes to these injuries. I think, like you said, and just the rehab process in general, stay the course, stay patient with it, stay disciplined, is no matter what you're going through. And we're using injuries today as the focus of the talk, but this can be any setbacks. And then the importance of community and, community and not isolating, reach out to other people, be willing to let people in when you're going through this stuff can be huge. So those are some of the key things I wrote down. Anything you want to add to that, Ben? Any, wise takeaways from what we had there?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, man. Grieve at your own pace. I like it. That's so true. And if there's anyone that doesn't want you or doesn't let you grieve at your own pace, just get them away from you for a while. Okay. Maybe they're not the right person around you at the time, but no, you hit the nail on the head. And yeah, obviously you hear it again and again, but if you're not going to put in the work, you're not going to see that progress. You're not going to get back to where you were.
Yeah, that's great. And as we wrap up here, I got a couple of our hypothetical scenarios. So when I originally reached out to you about the show, we wanted to talk on some of the physical side of things, the fitness side of things, the training, the recovery side of things, but also, for the guys listening out there, I think and you've already been so vulnerable and open about it, which I appreciate, but there's a lot of hiding behind our, having to tough it out, hiding behind our masks, our shields that we put up as guys. If we have it all together, we're tough, we're never phased, we're not letting other people in to help us through things. And I think that appearance of having it all together and seeing someone like yourself on the outside, we look at credentials and the things you're up to with different businesses, helping with training, helping kids, helping mentor kids, you're coaching, you're doing the stuff with Lulu, you're doing all these things. And it's easy to look from the outside and be like, man, you got it all together. You got life figured out. You're on the right path. But, we both know that that's not the case. And we're both the first to admit probably that, hey, this is not always easy. We go through the same tough times that everyone else is. So
Yeah.
you've already mentioned 3 pretty big challenges with these ACL injuries. So I can't let you use that same example, but what's a challenge you're facing, outside of maybe the injury side of things, outside of what we talked about already, that has either something you're currently facing or faced in the past that's been a major catalyst for your growth as a man?
Just being present, being absolutely present. With every conversation that I have. So being able to listen and being naturally curious with the people that you're around, but being present has enabled me to make those connections that I wouldn't otherwise have been able to make if I was thinking about this, or this, later today or later tomorrow or the next day after that. So um, absolutely just being present in the moment, and preserving that time too. It's just like, we are busy, we do have our jobs, but let's set aside, some time to be present with our kids, or I don't have kids or anything, but like with our family, with our friends. And not only is that going to be good for them and build those stronger relationships, it's be good for you to just kind of slow down sometimes when you're going full force. Like you said, I got all this stuff going on in my life, and you're darn right, I don't got anything figured out. I've only figured out like being respectful and nice to people will get me a lot further. Girlfriend's calling. I'll be present with her in a little bit. um what was I just saying? I know I said being present, but something else.
You being respectful, you said,
yeah, I figured that out. If you're respectful to people, if you don't just waste their time, you're actually respectful, and um, you're not showing hubris, or being cocky, that will carry you so far. So I guess the only thing I figured out is connections really matter.
Big time. Do you find yourself with so much stuff going on? Is that a challenge for you, just being present and not jumping from thing to thing too much?
Absolutely. That is a challenge for me. Yep. And it's a challenge for me because then at that same end, I'm so present. I don't think about my 5-year goal, or my 10-year goal, or I don't even make one, which, some people can live like that and some people can't. But if you don't have that next year of sports that you're working up to, you're going to get on the field again. Are you going to go as hard as you did before? So I do have challenges just getting caught up with saying yes to people instead of like preserving my own time sometimes. So I've started making more time to be present because I am caught up in all of these things, and just figuring out how to work with it, schedule block and whatnot. But yeah, one of my biggest challenges, just to be clear, is just like, I have a hard time making long-term goals for myself, and it's because I'm doing a lot of stuff and being very present at the time.
Which is, yeah, it's good. And there's always this push pull with it. People can gravitate on the other end of it, of being planning everything out and looking ahead and doing that, but missing the action in the moment, missing the
Right.
relationship in the moment, missing
Right.
being present with the people around you.
Right. Enjoying the ride.
Yeah, enjoy the ride. So our last hypothetical scenario question to ask all the guests here. So you're leaving your favorite coffee shop, restaurant, brewery, wherever you're at in Minneapolis there, and you run into your younger self, younger Ben of 10 years back, and he asks you for some life advice. He's looking for some guidance. You're on your way to a super important full day of meetings and clients you're working with, family. You can't talk to him for longer than 60 seconds. You got 60 seconds to talk with him. What life advice are you giving to him? What are you saying to him?
I'll say, Ben, you are awesome. Like, no matter what anyone says, you are the man. Okay. Uh, Nothing prepares you for the first time with whatever that may be. Okay. Getting out on the field, coming back, or getting injured. Nothing prepares you for that first heartbreak. Nothing will prepare you for the first time. And just know that, and then that's okay. Cry about it, feel it, breathe it. You're still alive. You're alive right now. I'm future you. So you're obviously going to be alive in 30 years. You're going to be fine. You're going to be successful. And do the first rep. Like I said, it doesn't prepare you for the first time. You're never prepared for it. Just do the first rep and go from there.
Love it, Ben. So well said. And it's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate connecting, and I'm glad we got to chat more on this. Where can people reach out to you if they want to get a hold of you, if they want to just say, hey, I'm going through this ACL surgery or this major thing, and reach out. Where can people reach out?
Yes, yes. I would say the best way to reach me right now, I'll give you my Instagram, my email, but Instagram is just Benjamin.Lucius. I believe that's my IG handle, just Benjamin dot and then Lucius. Just send me a DM if you're going through any injuries or any setbacks, or you need a little perspective, or you just want to say hi, reach out to me, say hi. Otherwise, hit me up. I'm a realtor now. So Ben.Lucius at clientsforlifegroup.com. Come move to the Twin Cities, baby. I got you. Let's go.
Yeah, if you're in the Twin Cities, check that out. We'll tag or we'll put the Instagram tag in the show notes as well if you guys want to
Awesome.
send Ben a message. So Ben, it's been great, man. My pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, Dave, I appreciate you, and say hi to Lindsay for me. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.